Okay, fair warning, this is going to be a longer video, but it has a lot of deep insights into what's been happening in my life, where we're going in our lives, and what it's taken to get there. And there's some life lessons along the way that you're probably going to want to hear. So sit back, relax, grab a tub of popcorn. It's story time with Colin DeWaay. Well, you're never going to believe it. We finally have a date to move to Florida. It's been one heck of a roller coaster, but we're finally moving forward. And before I tell you what the date will be, that will be towards the end of the video, so make sure you watch the whole thing. But I want to talk about what we had to go through to get here and how it also relates to health and fitness as well. I talk about this on my Facebook page all the time, about how it's not necessarily about knowing what to do, all the right things to eat, all the right things to do. It's more about perseverance than it is anything else. You can do a lot of things wrong and get great results as long as you continue to put effort forth all the time. If you continuously, always try to reach your goals, eventually you're going to get there. Whether you really know what you're doing or not, you're going to get there. The people who have results, the people who get to where they want to be, are the people who continue to move forward all the time, no matter what stands in their way. And that's really what happened with our Florida trip too. I mean, there's been one roadblock after another this whole entire time, and here we are. It's pretty much going to be an entire year later than we thought we were going to be down there, but we're finally going to be there. Now, here's some of the things that we went through. I don't know how many people know this stuff, probably not very many actually, but it's been quite the battle to get down there. And the very first thing that came up, it was in January of 2014. We were about a month away from putting the house on the market. We had everything set in stone. We knew what date it was going to go up. We were moving forward. We were hoping it was going to take just a few months to get the house sold and then be down there by the summer at the latest. And then my wife lost her job. And really that's what we were banking on to be able to move down there, because she can work from home. I was going to be quitting my career. I've been doing the print thing for 16 years now. I've been with the same company for 14 and a half years. Make pretty decent money, nothing to get crazy about, but I do okay. And I'm going to be quitting that, and I'm going to be pursuing my dream as a personal trainer. And I kind of hate to use that word, personal trainer, because I just think of like the commercial gym where it's just general weight loss stuff, and that's really not going to be me. I want to be more of like a strength coach, help you build muscle. I'll help you burn plenty of fat too, but it's going to be through strength training. But side rant, I wasn't going to have a job when we got down to Florida. We knew this. It was 100% set in stone. I'm not going to have a job. Her income's going to be everything that we have when we get down there, right? So she loses her job. Oh, crap. Now what do? Do we pull the house off the market? Do we push it back and see what happens? Well, we decided this is what we want to do. It's going to work out. We're going to find a way, whether she has to find something down there or I have to find something down there. Whatever it's going to take, we're going to just push forward with the plans, and we're going to put the house on the market anyway and hope everything falls into place. Well, luckily, just a couple weeks later, she ends up landing another job, like almost immediately, with the same company, same pay, still can work from home. It was an absolute blessing. So that was lucky stroke number one. And so we got that behind us. We were going to put the house on the market at the end of February. I can't remember this date, somewhere around like February 21st, something like that. And the night before the house is going to go on the market, we get this just nasty ice storm, like the worst storm that I've pretty much ever seen since I've been here in Minnesota for 35 years. It started off warm, so it started raining, then it turned to sleet, then it turned to snow, and then it got freezing cold. So all the stuff just completely froze and just made a nightmare. Literally the roads were like a thick sheet of ice, like a bumpy washboard of ice for like a week. And this is Minnesota. I mean, we take care of the roads, we get it back in business, but this thing was nasty. So the day before we're putting the house on the market, this thing happens. Not only, the first week is kind of critical for selling a house, and we got absolutely like no traffic at all, because pretty much it was a state of emergency, and they were saying don't leave your house unless you absolutely have to. It was really dangerous to drive. And on that same night, we were hearing this noise in our attic. We couldn't figure out where it was coming from, what it was. There was this like knocking, knock, 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 coming throughout the house, and it was like 11 o'clock at night or midnight or something. We're going, what the heck is that? Finally, we figured out, I think it's coming from the attic. So it's just like this little crawl space. So I crawl up through my son's room, through the closet to get up onto the attic, and I'm stepping on all these little beams to try to figure out, because I could tell it's getting louder and louder. Finally, I'm starting to get towards this vent, and this vent is making this noise. So I'm looking up going, okay, what the heck is that? I forget what I'm doing, and I lose my footing, and I put a hole right through the roof. Just straight through the roof into the closet of our bedroom. And I'm like, oh my goodness, the house is going on the market tomorrow morning, and I just put a hole in our roof. That is fantastic. So I had to go to work the next day. We ended up calling out a handyman. He came out and fixed it really quick, really cheap, and that all worked out as well. And then I also had to have my NASM personal training certification tests like 2 days after this. So I'm forced to drive out into this nightmare of a mess and get this test done with all the stress going on. I passed that. It ends up going fine. But it was tough. Okay, so then the house. Time keeps going by. Not really getting any traffic, not getting any traffic. We started the price way too high, but we couldn't come down too low, because if you knew we went too low, we wouldn't be able to have enough money to show up to closing and then be able to move down to Florida. So we were kind of stuck. So we kind of dropped the price a little bit, and then still not much traffic. Things aren't going well at all. It's looking pretty bleak. We do a bunch of different things to the house. I'm painting like a madman. I'm changing fixtures. I'm doing what I can't even remember. I don't even want to remember anymore, but we did so much work to this house to try to make it more appealing. Finally, time goes on, and it's like August now, and it's been 6 months almost, and we're just thinking, oh crap, it's just not going to happen. So we're kind of at the point where we're thinking, if it doesn't sell soon, we're just going to put the thing on, we're going to take it off the market, and we'll try again next year and hope for the best and suffer one more winter, so be it. Didn't really want to do it, but that's kind of where we were sitting. I wrote this kind of long, kind of distraught blog post on my old blog that I don't have anymore, but I pretty much said, it's not looking good, I don't think it's going to happen. We haven't had a single offer in 6 months on this house. It's just not going to happen. I hit publish on this thing. 10 minutes later, I get a call from a realtor. Well, I've got good news and bad news. Good news is you have an offer. And I'm like, what? And he goes, well, the bad news is it's a few grand below what you're asking. We had dropped our price now at this point to be literally lower than we could possibly afford. If we sold it for this price and they paid their own closing, we would still need to borrow money to be able to show up to closing to be able to do this. But we were so desperate that we were just going to do whatever the heck we had to do. So we ended up getting it up to our asking price, but they wouldn't pay their closing. They said they couldn't. It was no way. We ended up taking it, borrow a bunch of money from my parents, and we have to show up to closing with like $15,000 just to sell this house, because we didn't want to do a foreclosure or a short sale or anything like that. We didn't want to walk away from the house. That's not my style. So I get a hold of my parents. They say no problem. They borrow us the money. We're gonna sell the house now, and then we're gonna move in with my parents until we can pay all this money back and save up enough to be able to afford to move down there and have just a little bit left over. So we know we're gonna be in my parents' house for a while. Not the best situation in the world, but grateful because it's the only way we're gonna get down there at this point. Now, still in about August, when we're still working on selling the house, now my wife has a bunch of medical problems, and she's in and out of the hospital like crazy. They finally find out that she has gallbladder disease, and they need to take her gallbladder out. So she has to have this emergency surgery to get her gallbladder removed right when we're trying to sell the house. And they're wanting to move in pretty fast too. So that happens, she gets through it, everything's fine, but there's another $4,000 gone. Okay? We work it out, we get all the things squared away. Now we go to sell the house and we go to the closing, and it keeps getting delayed over and over and over and over. And we didn't close for like 3 weeks until after the original closing date, because there was some problem on their side where they were thinking that maybe he wasn't making the money that he said he was making. There was some kind of a language barrier, and they wouldn't sign off on the closing. I don't know how it all works, but they wouldn't move forward with the paperwork. So it got delayed. I can't even tell you how many times we were supposed to show up to closing, and they kept saying, nope, we don't have what we need. We don't have what we need. And now we're thinking, great, these people aren't even going to do it. It's going to fall apart. We're screwed. It's not going to happen. And finally that got taken care of. We finally are able to close on the house. We get closed, we move in with my parents, and then we're here for a little bit. Now I need to have surgery on my eye. I have eye surgery. That's another like $3,000 worth of surgeries right there. By the end of the year, we had racked up like somewhere around $11,000 worth of medical bills. So I guess the good thing is it happened while we were here, while we have 2 jobs and 2 incomes, and we can live with my parents and we can just pay it off and not have a mortgage and a rent and all that stuff. But man, what a struggle to get this all done with. So that's all behind us now. Now it's February. We went down in January to look at apartments and stuff because we're starting to get close to knowing when we want to leave. So we go look at a bunch of different places and didn't find a whole lot that we liked, but there were 2 apartments that we really liked. There was one in Seminole, which is really close to not only our friends, but a good school that you can go to. The schools in Florida are kind of hit and miss, and it's not easy to find a good school. They have a A through F grading system, and this school's a B, so that was a plus. And it's close to the beach, and we are beachgoers. We love the beach. We want to be close to the beach. That's part of why we're moving to Florida. And then the other one was in St. Petersburg, which was a little farther away than we wanted to be, but it was a really nice apartment, a little more expensive. School was a little farther away, where this school in Seminole is going to be like just a few blocks away. But there was no openings in the one in Seminole. So we put ourselves on a waiting list to, if there was any openings for an apartment, they would give us a call and then we could try to work it out and see when we get down there. We told them we wanted to try to be down there in April, but we're flexible. Probably not before then because we wouldn't have enough at that point, but we did that. Then we went to the one in St. Petersburg. They had more openings. That was not really going to be an issue to get into there if we needed to, but it was kind of our second option. So we get done, we have a good time, and get back, and like 2 days later after being back, we get a call from the apartment in Seminole that we really want to go to, and they said, "You're not going to believe this. We have an opening April 10th. First floor," which we really wanted a first floor too. It's got this kind of a private fencing around it's the only apartment in there that has a private fencing around behind on the porch or whatever you want to call it. Really nice one. Do you want it? Teresa calls me up. She's like, "You're not going to believe this. Do you want this?" And I'm like, "Yes! You just book it. Book it now. I don't care. We'll figure it out." So we're just ecstatic. So we go through all that process. There's a couple hiccups during the whole financial checks and all that stuff, but everything turned out. We got it all booked up and we're set. We have a move-in date to Florida in the apartment that we want to be in on the first floor like we wanted, April 10th. Lord have mercy, hallelujah. Thank you. Oh, it has been an absolute nightmare. Talk about a test of perseverance. And I mean, it's like I said before, guys, this is how you get where you want to be in life. You have to persevere. You have to get through the tough times. You have to keep moving forward all the time, no matter what. Life is never going to give you a break. It's never going to be easy. It's going to test you all the time. But if you really want what you want in life, you have to keep chasing it. It's not always the most talented person that wins. It's the one who perseveres the most. So, that was really long. I don't know how many of you actually stuck around for the whole thing, but I appreciate it very much. I wanted to tell my story out there. I wanted to let the people that we know around here, our friends and family who we haven't sat down face to face with, and let them know exactly when we're going to be moving. Everyone knew it was coming soon, but it's kind of felt like, and it felt like this to us, but especially to a lot of our friends, it just kind of felt like it was never going to happen because it's been like a full year since we thought we were going to be moving and things just kept falling apart, and it's been like 2 years, I think, almost since we talked about moving. So it just hasn't been coming together, but it finally is. It's finally happening. Who knows what's going to get thrown our way next, but we're going to keep pushing forward. We're going to make it happen. I guess that's all I have for now. So in a couple months I'll be shooting from Florida. We'll be near our favorite beaches, and I will be warm, and I will be happy, and I will be moving towards doing what I want to do with my career. I can't wait.